The events leading to the Battle of Marathon unfolded during an era of rapid expansion and consolidation by the Persian Empire under King Darius I. By the late 6th century BCE, the Persians had forged the largest empire the world had seen, spanning from the Indus Valley to the fringes of the Aegean Sea. However, this expansion brought them into contact, and often conflict, with the fiercely independent city-states of Greece. The spark for Persian hostility toward Athens was lit during the Ionian Revolt, 499 to 494 BCE. The revolt began as an uprising of Greek city-states in Asia Minor, seeking to throw off the yoke of Persian rule. Despite initial successes, the revolt was ultimately crushed. Athens, however, had sent ships and soldiers to support the Ionians, a gesture that enraged Darius and marked Athens as a target for retribution. Darius's ambitions went beyond mere punishment. Subduing the Greek mainland would not only ensure security on the empire's western frontier, but also extend Persian dominance into the wealth and culture of the Aegean. To this end, in 492 BCE, Darius launched a campaign under Mardonius, a trusted commander. However, this effort was hindered by natural disasters and resistance in Thrace, forcing a retreat. 2 years later, in 490 BCE, Darius dispatched another force under the command of Datis and Artaphernes. This fleet bypassed the rugged northern approach and instead landed directly on the eastern coast of Attica, at Marathon. Their strategy was twofold. First, to destroy the Athenian forces in open battle, and then sail around Cape Saunion to capture Athens itself, exploiting its unguarded state. The Persian force was composed of diverse contingents drawn from across the empire, a testament to its vast reach. They relied heavily on archers, light infantry, and cavalry, which had proven effective against foes in Asia and the Near East. However, they were unprepared for the distinctive military culture of the Greek hoplites, a citizen soldier class trained to fight in the dense, disciplined phalanx formation. As the Persian army landed at Marathon, the Athenians faced a dire decision. They could wait for reinforcements from Sparta, whose formidable warriors were delayed by religious observances, or confront the Persian threat on their own. Guided by Miltiades, a commander with first-hand knowledge of Persian strategies, the Athenian assembly chose to march to Marathon, recognizing that a delayed response could allow the Persians to ravage the countryside and strengthen their position. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of Athens, but also the course of Greek and, by extension, Western history. The forces arrayed at Marathon represented two vastly different military traditions and approaches to warfare. On one side stood the Athenians and their allies from Plataea, numbering approximately 10,000 hoplites. These soldiers, drawn from the ranks of ordinary citizens, embodied the democratic ideals of Athens, fighting not for a king but for their polis and its freedoms. Each hoplite was heavily armed, equipped with a bronze helmet, breastplate, greaves, a large circular shield known as a hoplon, and an 8-foot spear. Their combat style was rooted in the phalanx formation, a disciplined, shoulder-to-shoulder arrangement designed to present a unified front of overlapping shields and spears, a wall of bronze that required cohesion and coordination above all else. In contrast, the Persian army, under the command of Datis and Artaphernes, brought with it the full diversity of the Achaemenid Empire. Estimated at 20,000 to 30,000 strong, their ranks included troops from across the empire, Medes, Persians, and other subject peoples. Their equipment reflected their emphasis on mobility and ranged combat. Lightly armored compared to the Greeks, they relied on wicker shields, shorter spears, and highly effective composite bows. Persian infantry worked in tandem with their renowned cavalry, whose speed and maneuverability had proven decisive in previous campaigns. The cavalry, however, would play a limited role at Marathon, constrained by the terrain and the swiftness of the Greek engagement. The Greek strategic advantage lay not in numbers, but in discipline and morale. Every Athenian and Plataean hoplite knew that they stood as the last line of defense against subjugation. They were bolstered by the leadership of Miltiades, who brought an intimate understanding of Persian tactics from his time as a subject under their rule. The Persians, for their part, carried the confidence of an empire accustomed to overwhelming resistance through sheer force and resources. Yet their diversity was also their Achilles heel. While effective in open terrain, their troops were less cohesive in tight formations. The contrast between these forces set the stage for one of history's most celebrated military clashes, where cohesion and local knowledge would meet the immense reach of imperial ambition. The Battle of Marathon unfolded with calculated precision and daring innovation. After days of standoff, the Greek commanders, led by Miltiades, resolved to strike first. Their decision was not without risk. Outnumbered and facing an army that excelled in ranged combat, the Greeks relied on speed, discipline, and strategic foresight. The Greek army deployed in a traditional phalanx formation but with a significant adaptation. The center of their line was deliberately weakened, while the flanks were reinforced. This unorthodox arrangement reflected Miltiades' understanding of Persian tactics, particularly their reliance on breaking through enemy lines with their massed infantry and cavalry. At dawn, the Athenians initiated their charge. A steep and narrow plain separated them from the Persian forces, effectively neutralizing the mobility of the famed Persian cavalry. Closing the distance at an unprecedented pace, the heavily armored hoplites minimized their exposure to Persian archers. The clash of the two forces was swift and brutal. As the Greek center buckled under the weight of the Persian advance, the flanks held firm, enveloping the invaders in a deadly pincer maneuver. Persian troops, accustomed to open-field engagements, found themselves trapped and disoriented as the hoplites pressed their advantage. The Greeks' discipline and tightly packed formations overwhelmed the lighter, less cohesive Persian ranks. The chaos intensified as the Persians attempted to retreat. Many fled to their ships, only to be pursued relentlessly by the Athenians, who inflicted severe casualties during the withdrawal. The retreat turned into a rout, with the Greeks destroying or capturing a significant portion of the Persian force before they could regroup. By the end of the battle, the Persians had suffered staggering losses, with an estimated 6,400 killed compared to the mere 192 Athenian dead. The field of Marathon stood as a testament to the effectiveness of Greek strategy and the resilience of a citizen-soldier army, marking a decisive moment in the struggle between East and West. The aftermath of the Battle of Marathon rippled far beyond the bloodied plains of Attica, leaving profound political, cultural, and strategic consequences for both the Greeks and the Persian Empire. In the immediate sense, the victory brought a surge of relief and jubilation to Athens and its allies. The defeat of the much larger Persian force bolstered confidence among the Greek city-states and demonstrated that the Persian war machine, often perceived as invincible, could be defeated through strategy and unity. Militarily, the battle exposed vulnerabilities in the Persian approach to warfare. While the Achaemenid army excelled in open terrain and against uncoordinated foes, it struggled against the disciplined Greek phalanx and the rough, confined geography of Greece. The Persian retreat also underscored the limitations of naval-supported invasions when faced with resolute defenders who understood the local terrain. For Athens, the victory solidified its burgeoning sense of political identity and its democratic institutions. The victory was achieved not by mercenaries or an aristocratic elite, but by its citizens, each bearing the weight of their shield and their civic duty. This sense of collective achievement reinforced the democratic ethos, fostering a unity that would prove crucial in the years to come. The aftermath also had significant symbolic resonance. Marathon became a cornerstone of Greek cultural memory, immortalized in art, literature, and public oratory as a triumph of freedom over despotism. The legend of Phidippides, the messenger who ran from Marathon to Athens to announce the victory, added a mythical dimension to the event, intertwining it with themes of sacrifice and civic pride. Yet, the victory did not end Persian ambitions in Greece. Darius I began preparations for a larger invasion to avenge the defeat, although his death in 486 BCE delayed these plans. His successor, Xerxes I, would renew the conflict a decade later with a massive campaign culminating in the battles of Thermopylae, Salamis, and Plataea. For Greece, The Battle of Marathon became a symbol of what was possible when unity and strategic foresight prevailed over overwhelming odds. It set the stage for the eventual Greek victories in the Greco-Persian Wars, marking the beginning of a cultural and political legacy that would influence Western civilization for centuries. The Battle of Marathon left an indelible mark on the cultural consciousness of Greece and the wider world. In the immediate aftermath, it became a symbol of the triumph of freedom over tyranny, a narrative that resonated deeply with the ideals of Greek city-states, particularly Athens. For the Athenians, the battle reinforced their belief in the strength of a citizen-soldier army defending its homeland and values, a stark contrast to the conscripted and diverse forces of the Persian Empire. In literature and art, Marathon was immortalized as a defining moment of resistance. Poets like Simonides and later dramatists drew on the imagery of the battle, celebrating the courage and sacrifice of the hoplites. The battle also found a place in public oratory, where leaders like Pericles invoked its memory to inspire civic pride and unity during times of crisis. Marathon's cultural resonance extended into the realm of athletic competition. The legendary account of Miltiades, who ran from the battlefield to Athens to announce the victory, inspired the creation of the modern marathon race in the late 19th century. While the historical accuracy of the story remains debated, its endurance in collective memory speaks to the enduring symbolic power of the battle. Beyond Greece, the Battle of Marathon influenced the narratives of later Western civilizations. The clash was seen as the first significant defense of Europe against Eastern invaders, framing Marathon as a precursor to the broader struggles between East and West that would echo through history. This interpretation gained renewed emphasis in the 19th and 20th centuries, as historians and thinkers sought to trace the origins of Western ideals of democracy and resistance. Within the Greek world, Marathon became a rallying cry for unity and resilience. Monuments, such as the burial mound at the site of the battle, stood as tangible reminders of the victory, and the names of the fallen were etched into the collective memory of the polis. These cultural artifacts transformed Marathon from a military event into a cornerstone of Greek identity, linking it to the broader narrative of the classical age as a defining period in human history. Marathon's legacy is not merely confined to antiquity. It has become a universal symbol of perseverance against overwhelming odds, its lessons invoked in both political discourse and cultural reflections. The resonance of this ancient victory continues to echo, a testament to its profound historical and symbolic significance. The Battle of Marathon stands as a masterclass in military strategy, discipline, and adaptability. It demonstrated that success in warfare is not solely determined by numerical superiority but hinges on the effective use of terrain, tactics, and morale. Miltiades' leadership showcased the importance of understanding the enemy's strengths and weaknesses, as well as the local environment. One of the key lessons of the battle was the significance of terrain in shaping the outcome. By positioning his forces on higher ground, Miltiades neutralized the Persian cavalry, which relied on mobility and open spaces. The narrow plain of Marathon forced the Persians to fight in confined quarters, limiting their ability to exploit their numerical advantage and reducing the effectiveness of their famed archers. The Greek decision to strengthen their flanks while thinning their center was a tactical innovation that would influence future military doctrines. This strategy relied on the discipline and cohesion of the hoplite phalanx to withstand the initial assault, allowing the flanks to envelop the enemy in a pincer maneuver. The calculated risk of exposing the center to attack was offset by the understanding that Persian infantry, accustomed to lighter armor and looser formations, would struggle to maintain coherence under pressure. Speed and timing were also critical. The rapid Athenian charge across the plain not only minimized exposure to Persian arrows, but also disrupted the psychological advantage the Persians might have gained from their superior numbers. The ability of the Greek soldiers to close ranks and maintain formation during the charge highlighted the value of rigorous training and discipline, qualities that became hallmarks of Greek warfare. The battle further underscored the importance of unity and morale. The Athenians and Plataeans fought not as disparate individuals, but as a cohesive force defending their homeland and values. This shared sense of purpose contrasted sharply with the Persian army, which, despite its vast numbers, was composed of troops from various regions with differing motivations and allegiances. Perhaps the most enduring military lesson of Marathon is the power of adaptability. Miltiades leveraged his knowledge of Persian tactics, gained from his earlier service under Darius, to anticipate and counter their strategies. This ability to adapt to the unique challenges of the battlefield exemplifies the importance of flexibility in command, a lesson that remains relevant in military planning today. Marathon also offered a cautionary tale about the risks of overextension in imperial campaigns. The Persian reliance on naval support and logistical constraints left them vulnerable when their initial strategy failed. The defeat highlighted the need for empires to understand the limits of their power when operating far from their core territories. In essence, the military lessons of Marathon transcend its historical context. They reveal timeless principles of strategy, discipline, and leadership that continue to resonate in the study of warfare, making the battle a defining example of tactical ingenuity and human determination. We'd love to hear your thoughts on possible future topics. What areas of human evolution would you like to explore next? Leave your suggestions in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. As always, our references and further reading are listed in the description below if you'd like to dive deeper into the subject. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. And do not forget, subscribe to the knowledge.